My name is Rachel Matthews, and for the better part of my life, I believed I had everything sorted out. A devoted husband, a beautiful home in Ohio, and a son who was the center of our universe. But life has a peculiar way of changing course precisely when you feel most secure. After my husband David's passing, everything shifted. Not just the house, not just the quiet evenings, but something much more profound. And what my son requested of me in the ensuing months still felt surreal, yet it transpired and I did something I never envisioned. David died in the autumn. It was sudden. A massive heart attack claimed him in mere seconds. One moment he was tending to the lawn, whistling his usual contented tune, and the next he was gone. No warnings, no second chances. I recall screaming, dialing 911 with trembling fingers, and then watching the paramedics shake their heads after exhausting all efforts. My world shattered in that instant. Grief isn't solely about loss, it's about navigating the days that follow. My son Tyler was 22 and had recently graduated college. He was my anchor during those initial days, managing the arrangements, handling calls from relatives, and sitting by my side through the sleepless nights. I believed I was the one holding on for him, but in reality, he was my support. As weeks transitioned into months, the house became quieter. Tyler postponed his move to Boston for a job, opting to stay with me longer. I didn't object, I needed him. We established a routine, preparing dinner together, watching old family videos, and engaging in late-night conversations. It was comforting. And then things started to evolve. It wasn't anything abrupt, no sudden revelation. It began with innocent gestures, a hand held for too long, a gaze that lingered. I initially dismissed it, convincing myself it was grief clouding both our judgment. We were vulnerable, yearning for stability. But over time, Tyler's affection grew more intense. He started confiding in me in ways reminiscent of David. His fears, his insecurities, his aspirations. And he began looking at me differently. One night, as we sat on the couch watching an old movie David cherished, Tyler turned to me with a peculiar look in his eyes. I remember the exact moment because my heart skipped a beat, uncertain of what was coming. "Mom," he said softly, "can I tell you something without you judging me?" "Of course," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "I don't know what's happening to me lately. I know it's wrong, but I feel something different, something I shouldn't." I remained silent, unsure of how to respond. The room felt confined. I looked at his face. He resembled David so much at that age. The same hazel eyes, the same strong jawline, the same emotional depth. "I miss Dad so much," he whispered. "But I think I'm starting to feel close to you in a way I never expected. And I can't tell anyone else. I don't know what to do." My instincts screamed to correct him, to attribute it to grief. But instead, I found myself frozen. I didn't tell him he was mistaken. I didn't walk away. Part of me, ashamed as I am to admit it, felt soothed by his attention. I'd been alone, broken, and desperately missing the love David used to shower upon me. Tyler's presence filled a void I hadn't even realized was so vast. We didn't revisit that night for weeks, but the atmosphere between us had shifted. There was unspoken tension, thick like a thread pulling tighter each day. I tried to keep occupied, volunteering, gardening, anything to divert myself. But the house still felt like a bubble of shared emotions and confusion. Then one evening, Tyler came home from an interview and found me weeping in the kitchen. The grief had struck again suddenly and acutely. I was holding David's old sweater, unable to let go. Tyler dropped his bag and came to me, embracing me tighter than ever before. And in that instant, everything blurred. What happened next wasn't planned. It was a culmination of suppressed emotions, unresolved grief, and the need to feel alive again. It wasn't about lust or desire. It was about broken souls seeking solace in a cold world. But as soon as the moment passed, guilt washed over me like a tidal wave. I couldn't meet his gaze. I rushed upstairs, locked myself in the bathroom, and sobbed harder than I had since the funeral. What had I done? What kind of mother was I? The next morning, Tyler didn't mention it. He acted as if nothing had occurred, for which I was both relieved and devastated. I needed to talk, but I didn't know how. I needed to make sense of it. Eventually, I confided in my therapist. Her reaction was compassionate but firm. "You are grieving, Rachel. Both of you are. But this path will only lead to more pain." She was right. As comforting as it had felt in that one fractured moment, it wasn't a solution. It wasn't healing. It was avoidance. I sat Tyler down a week later and told him we needed to reset. We both needed space, distance, and time to heal independently. Cried, and so did I. But he agreed. He left for Boston soon after. It's been a year since David passed. Tyler now lives in a studio apartment near his job. We talk regularly and our conversations are healthy again, light-hearted, grounded. We've both matured since that perplexing chapter, and we've never returned to what almost happened. I share this story not to shock, but to illustrate how grief can distort the heart and mind. How loneliness can make you seek comfort in unexpected places. And how, even in our darkest moments, we can choose a path toward healing and self-respect. What I did after my son's confession wasn't easy, and it wasn't perfect, but I confronted it and I grew. Life isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning from them, acknowledging them, and moving forward with grace. 'Cause even when the world falls apart, love, Real love, finds a way to rebuild the pieces into something stronger.